ton cards for Titans. This is not including Titans themselves because I think Titans are just a completely different card. And we already did the tier list for Titans, so there's absolutely no reason for me to do this. But let's start with this. I believe it's this. All right. Number 10 is Imprisoned Horror. This is a 9 mana 5/5. It costs 1 less for each damage you've taken on your turns this game. Warlock actually has a surprising amount of cards that do help this get reduced quite a bit. And honestly, it seems like you could get this out pretty early on in the game, probably around turn 3 or 4. And that may be like, oh, that's nothing. But when you have a combination of cards that you're also playing with this, I feel like this could be a very impactful card. It fits into a variety of different decks as well. Quarter Creeper wasn't only just played in like aggro decks when it was in the game. It was played in almost every single deck because it was that strong. I feel like Warlock has enough tools for this card to be playable. Also, just like Philippe just said in the chat, this is a card that I feel like we'll see play at some point in Standard, if not for this expansion. Right? There are going to be moments where Warlock just has a very good density of just hurting themselves cards, and this card will see play. It's just a good card. I think mana cheating is the best part about, or the best mechanic in Hearthstone. This is mana cheating in a different way. This card will probably see play at some point. Also, in Wild, I think this card's broken, but that's besides the point. This card with Crystallizer is just absolutely disgusting. So good luck with that in Wild. Okay. Number 2 is Inquisitive Creation. This is the 4 mana 3/4 Battlecry. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Improved by each spell school you've cast this game, and it is a mech. The only reason I'm thinking this card's going to be very good is because I actually think I'm going to mute this donation. We're not doing this yet. I actually think that the spell school whole package for Mage that they got this expansion is very strong. And this is going to be probably one of the biggest reasons for it. Most of the time you play this is Consecration, but you're also summoning a 3/4 and a mech, which is very, very, very good. I feel like this card is not on a lot of people's radars, but it is so easy for Mage to cast a bunch of different spell schools that I think this card actually looks insane. I think this card's just good. And also, imagine this. I was always only comparing this to Consecration. If this is 3 or 4 damage, dude, it's game winning on its own. It's such a good card. No one's talking about this card. I don't know why. This card's kind of insane. Right. Thanks for the donation, bro, by the way. I've been wanting to record this. All right. Obviously, this goes without saying. I think Jotun or Jotun, whatever the hell his name is, the Eternal, looks really, really good. 5 mana 4/5 Battlecry for the rest of the game. Cast a copy of the first spell you draw each turn at enemies. I would not think this card is as strong as it currently is now if it did not say cast a copy. If it just said cast the first spell you draw, I think the card is significantly weaker. But the fact that you basically get a free copy of spells that you're going to put into your deck because those spells are good probably means this card is going to be very playable. I think Relic Demon Hunter will end up being one of the best decks in the format if combo doesn't just outright kill them before they even get to do anything with this. This is a very powerful effect. And again, this is a card that is going to be around for the next year and a half in Standard, and it's in Wild. I'm not sure about Wilds, but at some point, this card will be one of the most annoying cards to play against. I just have a feeling, bro. Like, it reminds me so much as one of the questline rewards that you would get from Stormwind. It can be played on turn 5, and generally, I think just playing a 5 mana 4/5 is not that bad for what you get. So I'm very nervous for this card. I hope it's not playable, or I hope it's not just meta defining. I don't mind if it's good, but like if it's meta defining, I think there's going to be a severe issue with this expansion. So I'm praying it's not. All right, Starstrong Bow, 6 mana 6/2, costs 1 less for each friendly secret that has triggered this game. This is a 6 attack weapon that is very easily being brought down to probably 3 to 2 to 4 mana, something around there. And at 4 mana, I'm pretty sure you're just happy to play this. At 3 mana, you're pretty excited. And at 2 mana, I think it's one of the best cards we've ever seen. Obviously, if you can play a 2 mana, deal 6 damage, that's insane. And then you get to do it again. So this card looks really good. Hunter got a lot of aggressive tools this expansion, and I'm expecting that some kind of secret Aggro Hunter will be really, really good. And I think this is going to be one of the reasons for it, because this is 12 damage on it's in one card. So I can't imagine a world where Hunter doesn't want to play this. It just seems way, way too delicious for Hunter not to be taken. Also, It is surprisingly really good in a variety of decks. It doesn't only have to be an aggressive decks, but I have a feeling that even if you just want to put this as the high end for an aggressive deck, you're probably okay with it. Because it's basically Leroy Jenkins that you get to swing twice. It's a good card. It scares me a little bit. I'm not happy about it. Next is Ravenous Kraken. 3 mana, 2/5, Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion, death rattle, summon a copy of it. This card looks really good. Cube was one of the best cards in the game at its release, believed in Cobalt and Catacombs. This card is just a smaller cube. It only hits 1, but this card is very good with eggs. It is very, very good with eggs. It is insane with eggs. And it's a 3 mana, 2/5 that supports the archetype that wants to play those eggs anyways. This card's probably going to be really good. Again, this is another card that will be in the game for a year and a half in standard. At some point in time, this kind of effect will be absolutely broken. Not broken, maybe just really, really good. And there are so many minions that you're pretty happy with this. See, the problem with Cube was 5 mana. So there's only so many minions you could actually hit without mana reduction. This is 3 mana, which makes the minions that you can actually kill and resummon a lot higher. Death Rattle's become a lot better because this is just an immediate tempo effect at that point in time, and then you summon another one. This card's good. This card is, I'm very, very happy with this card. Very, very happy with this card. All right, Bellowing Flames, 3 mana forge spell for Warrior. Deal 5 damage to a minion forged, then deal 5 damage split among all enemy minions. I think this is one of the best removals we've ever seen in Hearthstone. It reminds me a ton of Dark Skies, except for you get to pick where you want to send the 5 damage. I imagine Warrior will just skip armoring up on turn 2, so you could just play this on turn 3 and just destroy any aggro deck in their path. This is a very, very good spell for 3 mana if you're playing Control Warrior. And because we saw the legendary that Warrior received, I have a feeling that there will be some kind of deck that wants to run this card with Control Warrior. And again, at any point in time, Control Warrior is playable in the next year and a half. This card is very, very good. If you don't remember Dark Skies for Warlock, that card was great. This card is very, very close to it, except for instead of armoring or tapping on 2, you're just going to be forging this card. This card is very, very good. One of the best control cards we've ever actually seen. All right, Crash of Thunder. This one is actually pretty obvious, but I think this card's really good. Worst case scenario, it is 5 mana, deal 3 damage to literally all enemies, which actually isn't that bad. If you consider that Hellfire was, before it got buffed, it was 4 mana, deal 3 damage to every character. This is only to enemies, and it can only be reduced, which means at 4 mana, you're pretty stoked. At 3 mana, this card is very, very good. And obviously you could even reduce it even more because they're kind of pushing this nature effect for Shaman. This card's really good at stabilizing. It's good for finishing off the game. There are so many use cases for this card. I think this card is just one of the best cards Shaman's ever received. This is like one of those expansions where Shaman's going to be one of the best classes in the game. I have a feeling because this card's very, very good. Also, they got this card, Flash of Lightning. 2 mana, draw a card. Next turn, your nature spells cost 1 less. This is very good. Most people will probably see this. You don't want to play this on 2 mana. You want to play this as a combo card. So before the turn you think you're just going to win, you play this card, you play probably the second Flash of Lightning, and next thing you know, your opponent's dead. I feel like this card will single-handedly make a combo deck in Shaman just because of how crazy of a card this can possibly be. You're banking mana for next turn, and you draw a card, and it's a nature spell. Like, hello? Very, very good card. Again, this card's around for the next year and a half. Shaman will obviously get more nature spells, and depending what the core set is next year, this card's just very, very good. It's very, very good. Thank God this wasn't printed with Lightning Boom. Just thank God. Jesus Christ. All right, I actually think this is arguably the best card in this list, if I'm just going to be honest. 1 mana, 1/3 X21 Repair Bot. Death Rattle, return any mechs magnetized to this to your hand, and obviously it's a mech for Paladin. If Blizzard ever wants to print or give a very strong support for an archetype, they print a 1 mana, 1/3. Almost, I think like this is a pretty solid statement. Every 1 mana, 1/3 is just very, very good. If it pushes for an archetype, and this is just the same case. This card can just win the game, just straight up. It's so much tempo, and you get the mechs back into your hand, which is obviously really, really powerful. This card in Wild is probably going to be meta defining. I just feel like this is really, really good. Problem Shark. Listen, just because a card gets silenced doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just going to put it out there. All right. Very, very good card. I am genuinely worried for how good Paladin's going to be, but hopefully it won't be that big of an issue. I do think this card is very, very strong. I think it's just very, very good. All right. Last but not least, Sif. 6 mana, 4/6 spell damage +1. Proved by each spell school you've cast this game. I think this card is the best card in the entire expansion if I had to take a guess, other than the Paladin mech, because this card is going to single-handedly win games for mech or for mage easily. I showed the mech earlier on, just fits right into that archetype. This card is easily going to be +3 spell damage, +4 spell damage, and by the time you actually play it, your opponent's dead. The other reason why I think this card is very, very good is because it is in the same archetype as Solid Alibi is gonna be. And if you know anything about Solid Alibi, that means you basically delay the game for 2 extra turns, and it's a frost spell. So already we're at spell damage +2. This card's gonna win the people games. That's just what it is. It's phenomenal. When people tell me like it just looks bad, I can't believe it, because by the time you play this, you're winning the game. You're winning the game. This card's very, very good. I am very scared that this card is actually going to be the reason why we go into like a United Stormwind meta game. It's very, very good. That's it, chat. Now, some of you guys are writing in chat, where is the Warrior Legendary? The only reason I didn't put the Warrior Legendary on here is because I don't know if, hold on. I don't know if this win condition is better than the mage one. Because if I'm thinking in the long game, which one I would rather have, I'd rather have the mage win condition, because it's just easier to play. That's the only reason I put it on here. But I think my list is actually pretty good. I'm really happy with the list I picked, because I thought about it a lot. I was like, oh, but like if I added Titans, it might be slightly different. Like, I guess maybe you could change this card, but I do think this card is really, really good. Anyways, that's my top 10, chat. Obviously, I'm not wrong. We didn't include Titans, like I said before. But you guys can quote me on this. I do think Sif is the best card of the expansion. We'll see. We'll see what it ends up being.